Registered apprenticeship is business driven in the fact that industry dictates to the system what is going to be trained. They develop the work processes. They develop the time it takes to train, the on-the-job learning. That's the on-site learning that they undergo. Industry dictates what that training is going to be. They validate it and develop it. They also dictate what the related technical instruction is going to be, or the classroom portion, or some of the other methods that we're going to talk about as far as how we can train in that portion of apprenticeship.
Well, there's a tremendous amount that's new. Steve mentioned the history of apprenticeship, and the beginnings of kind of the modern apprenticeship system were established in 1937 with the passage of the Fitzgerald Act. And really, in that intervening time, that's been the one body of legislation that's guided the system for that period of time. We've had one set of regulations until very recently. And so there's been relative stability in the system, as well as all this adaptability that we talked about. And you know, for those of you from the WIA system, you can see, you can kind of contrast that with what the workforce system's gone through with iterations from the manpower days through CETA and JTPA and Workforce Investment Act. So we've had one authorizing legislation, and until recently, just one set of regulations that have guided that system for the past 70 years. In the past 10 years, there has been an effort to really expand apprenticeship into, and by expanding apprenticeship, we're talking about the model. You look at the model of what apprenticeship is, and Steve talked about it, the on-the-job learning, that contextual learning, that related technical instruction, the ability to earn while you learn. If you break that down, and you can apply that model to so many other industries, and today we are in energy, we're in high tech, we're in healthcare, we're in almost any industry that if an industry wants to get into apprenticeship, they can. And right now, about 60% of our programs are in high growth areas outside of construction. So there has been this expansion over the past 10 years. There's also been this tremendous effort to collaborate and partner. We talk a lot about integrating with WIA, but there's really already been tremendous partnerships developed with education, with the workforce system, working with women's groups. We have WANTO grants. We have collaborations with Youth Build, working with youth, disadvantaged adults and youth, working with formerly incarcerated, working with the military. I mean, there's almost no end to the types of partnerships that you can develop and think about in terms of how you can connect apprenticeship with the workforce system, with education, with community-based organizations to serve the specific target groups that you're interested in serving.
Kind of wanted to back up a little bit also and thank Rick for asking what is registered apprenticeship. The word apprenticeship by itself is not copyrighted to us in the Department of Labor, Office of Apprenticeship, and also the state apprenticeship agencies. Registered apprenticeship means that the program has met all the qualifications and the standards of the federal regulations. It has not only the on-the-job competencies and training under the supervision of a qualified journey person or mentor, but also the classroom instruction that goes along with that, so that a person gets progressive wage increases during their apprenticeship program. As they learn more, become more productive for their employer, they earn more money. And so registered apprenticeship is something that you'll hear us say over and over again, and not just apprenticeship. You know, also one of the things, there's currently about maybe 980 registered or recognized apprenticeable occupations in the United States. And with the Green Jobs Act and with some of the new initiatives that are coming out of the White House, there's going to be an opportunity to develop more occupations that haven't even existed yet. And I think we're going to see that specifically in the energy areas. And so that's one of the flexibilities about a registered apprenticeship. Just because an occupation doesn't exist yet doesn't mean that it can't be approved and fostered and then grown.
And we really do believe that apprenticeship does provide a very good career path for a lot of folks, and really it does help them to get into a stable middle-class career. And that's increasingly important now with the economic downturn, the priorities of this administration to create good jobs, stable jobs, self-sustaining jobs, jobs that can support a family, jobs that can expand the middle class. And the earnings of registered apprenticeship really are incredibly strong, and I mentioned the $50,000 earnings last year, and that again is an average. I mean, we see people that earn well above that, and it's just a very powerful model that can be applied in a lot of different industries, a lot of different settings, and can have tremendous impact for the people that we serve. Every American's going to need more education beyond a high school diploma, and it can happen in multiple forms, but really when you think about it, we don't have a really good way of connecting those folks that don't go on to four-year colleges as a way to get into these different programs. It's seen as a collection and an array of different government programs, but not as a system that's set up to serve their needs. And you know, folks may not be aware, but you may think of registered apprenticeship as something that young people go into, but the average age of a registered apprenticeship, a registered apprentice, is about 26 or 27. So these aren't kids that are coming out of high school and getting into a program. They're bouncing around from job to job, and later in their mid-20s, maybe they've got a lot of debt, maybe they've tried community college or college and that didn't work out for them, and then they're discovering apprenticeship. And again, you know, that's a missed opportunity and a lot of missed economic productivity for that person and for the country, where that person hasn't been better connected to the workforce more quickly. And I think the goal here is how do we together really come together as a system to respond to the President's challenge.